Goedemorgen. Today I'm interviewing Orhan Polat, a social media strategist who immigrated from Turkey to the Netherlands at age 5. He was initially studying to be an architect when a stroke of fate showed him he was gifted at sales. This led to him taking a major leap of faith to apply for a job he was completely unqualified for, and that ultimately paved the way for his future career. Find out what happened and learn tips and tricks for social media today at Expat Hour.
I distinctly remembering saying to my husband, I will never move here. But it ended up to be one of my favorite places in the world.
No nagging doubts. Try it, embrace it, and just enjoy the whirlwind of the experience.
The reason we came out here was because we wanted an adventure, so I think there's another couple in us, definitely.
For me, it was not scary. It was exciting.
Listen to your heart, believe in yourself, and be open.
You're listening to Expat Hour, where people from all over the world tell their stories of moving, adjusting, and living in countries that aren't their own. I'm your host, Austyn Smith. Thanks for joining us. Orhan, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Austyn, thank you for this opportunity.
I'm excited to talk to you. Give me a snapshot into your life right now.
Okay, my name is Orhan Polat. I'm 100% Turkish. I was born in the east of Turkey in a small village, Erzincan. I was 5 years when my parents, together with my mother, that I came to Holland. And now I'm like 43 years here in Holland. I live in Zuid-Bussum and I give social media training for enterprises to make the social media becoming more add value. Yes.
Cool. So you came here as a 5-year-old from Turkey.
Yes.
What do you remember about that time?
Not so much. Only it was the first time that I was in a big plane together with my sister and my brother. I have 3 brothers and 1 sister. And my oldest brother, 2 of them, they were also in Turkey. They came later on, like 5 years after that we were in Holland. So we have a big family and it was all new for us.
And then I assume you didn't know any English or any Dutch when you came here.
No.
So tell me what that was like, coming into a new country where you don't know the language and being thrown into the system.
Yes, I went to school and I started the language, but when you are 5 years, you can learn a new language very quickly. There were not so many Turkish people at that time, but you always play with each other and then starting with very simple words. So you pick it up. So yes.
And then English came later.
Later, when we go to high school. But on TV, we looked at a series like Miami Vice. We didn't understand it. But then you learn very quickly. And that's how I learned English.
So what number are you out of the kids?
I'm the last one.
You're the youngest?
I'm the Benjamin.
Really?
I'm the youngest, yeah. But I had to keep up with my brothers. And I can tell you that we had one room where we had 4 beds. You know, when I look at now, I think, how did we manage that we are 10 years that we were in one room?
All the kids.
All the kids. My sister had her own bedroom, but 5 guys in one room.
Oh my gosh.
Respect to my mother and father. But it was always, it was very, very busy and we were very noisy. But it was also very, like a real family.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Being an immigrant family, how much of your Turkish culture did you keep?
I think when I look at myself, I'm not like my parents are religion, with Muslim also. I'm not so good example, but what I try to do is getting the good things like respect for the older people, being polite. I don't know if it has to do with something with culture, but always be hospitality and trying to be like, we are in the Mediterranean, in Turkey, very hospitality, always give people when they come and visit us. All the door was open. Also in Holland, it was like at 6 o'clock we eat, and by us was like when people came, there was a plate. We had not always enough food, but we always shared with each other. So that were the differences At some point of friends, I was playing with a Dutch child, with a friend, and a mother came to me, Orhan, it's 6:00, you have to go to your home, and after finishing our dinner, you can come back and play again. And I was like, okay. I don't know if it's culture, but in Turkish way, we always say at that time, hey, you want to eat with us? And then when there was not enough, we shared our food. It was not always with all the friends what I had with Dutch people, but mostly was like normally looking at the watch. We have to eat now. So politely saying to you, go back to your home. And I was really like, okay, but that's like common to them. It's very strict, and it's the culture also. And I can give another example, for instance, on school, that sharing our bread. When a friend, like a Dutch friend, doesn't have some bread with him, I always shared my part to him. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I was sometimes hungry, and they had bread and an apple, and said, yeah, that's my lunch. And didn't share anything. And that's kind of, I don't know if that's really different. I don't know, Austyn. Mm-hmm. In my time, I cannot eat that somebody else, like staring at my bread, and I don't share it. Yeah. I don't know.
So those were the two differences that
I
you
think
saw,
so, yeah.
The Turkish culture was much more, we all share everything.
Yeah.
And the Dutch maybe were more scheduled and strict with the way that they do things.
In this time, it doesn't happen anymore. But at that time,
it was like...
In the earlier days, most parents at 1940 with the German, very poorness happened, and most parents saw that as an example. We have to be zuinig. We cannot share everything.
What is zuinig?
Zuinig is like, don't spoil it or don't get anything. Think about yourself and not giving too much to others.
Okay.
When you have seen poorness and you see that I think you have to more share with each other. I think that's my point of view. I would give that to my child. I think when you share knowledge or your food, it always comes back to you. When you're not sharing, in this world, everybody has stuff. And some kids, also now in the Netherlands, poorness, it's happening. That some kids are going with an empty belly to school. In these days, it's coming to society being very individual. Like, it's all about me. Mm-hmm. And that's sometimes you see that in everything, that people are first me, then the others.
Yeah.
I don't know. But maybe that's me. That's my point of view.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So growing up, any big memories or periods of your life that really stick out to you or were impactful to you?
After high school, I went to study architecture. I was very great at drawing buildings, and I love it. I like so many things in life. Sometimes it's too much that I couldn't choose. And I remember at my student time, I was not so good student. I was always going out, and I need also money to do nice things. And then when we look at where I ended now with my commercial, and I'm doing training for social media also with social selling. So make more that people are using social media to increase their sales. And about sales, it's a very great point how I were directed to like a course, and I didn't know that from architecture I go to sales, and it was very funny how that happened. In my student time, somebody said to me, we have to earn some money because we go to the bar and we drink a lot of beer, and it was always like, oh, we have an empty wallet. So then he said, come one night, I can help you to earn some money with telemarketing. And I said, what is that? I didn't know that. Yeah, we have to sell multifunctional cleaning machine called Kirby. You can do your carpet and your home cleaning. It was very new at that time. I didn't know it. So he said to me, we have to go, you have to pick up the phone and call, and people has to buy that Kirby machine. And it was like 4,000 gulden at the time. It's like 2,500 euros. Very new, and I said, okay, let's give it a try. I need some money. So I went there, and it was a group, and I had to sit down, and I saw a telephone book. And with a big phone, a real phone, like dialing.
Yeah, rotary phone.
Yeah, rotary phone. And the sales manager, he said, Orhan, this is your target. 5 selling or prospect. And I said, okay, what do you want to that I do? And he said, yeah, we have a script here, and ask that to the customer. Cold calling. I said, okay. So he said, now you have to start with, we have all the USPs of Kirby, multifunctional, and, we have the best service. And I don't know, but I was really like, is that the way that I have to pronounce the script 300 times in 1 hour? I try always to be creative and imagine the other side when I call, and I called it, and I said to them, how do you clean your carpet now? And they say, I know. They talked about it, and I said, we have a solution for you. And in 5 minutes, I sold my first Kirby. And the sales manager was looking at me. What is he doing? How did he do that? But I was so many, I want to be fun. And people were listening, but they thought it's very expensive. 2,500 euros. Yeah. At that time was a lot of money. But what I try to do is give them an opportunity. When are they buying a machine like that? Is it one time using? I said, use that for that. And then people were talking about a lot of time that they didn't have the time to clean it up, but they needed a very good cleaning machine. And that's what I sold to them. Mm. So at that night, I sold 4 or 5 Kirby machines. And this sales manager thought, who is this guy? We need him. And then he put some extra money for extra bonus. And I said, yeah, I deserved it. And he was very maybe you can help the other sales of the telemarketers to become like you. And I didn't know. I was really glad that I had the money and go to the bar, spend all the money. But that was people saw quality in me, but I was not aware of that. I was I need some money. I was thinking, am I going to read the script and make it very dull, boring? Mm-hmm. Are you the homekeeper? Or I don't know, such a stupid thing. It felt so performing, and I don't like to perform. Yeah, that's what I did in my commercial way, that people say, why are you studying architecture? You have to become much more in the sales. And then,
so you had a gift.
Yeah. It was very funny, but I'll start with the Kirby multifunctional machine. So I'm very glad. A shout out to Kirby.
And it wouldn't have happened if your buddy wasn't like, hey, we need to make some money. Let's go to this place.
It's so crazy, but it was so funny. And I remember it as yesterday, but it was a very great time.
Wow.
We had a lot of fun. Yeah.
So how did that experience change what happened next for you?
I was studying architecture, but then I met a girl. You're young, and I was like, okay, I want to earn money. And I was in sales, in commercial. I was thinking, okay, I have architecture, can I earn some money? And I was thinking, okay, I want to get married. Very naive. So I stopped studying architecture and get married and get my first job. That's also a story.
Yeah, let's hear it. What's your first job?
You had the Telegraaf at that time, is the biggest newspaper. Always at the Saturday edition, we're always advertising looking for people. Mm-hmm. And I saw they were looking for a sales representative, senior salesman.
Senior sales.
At Rico, Netherlands. Rico is a Japanese manufacturer of copying machines. Mm-hmm. I say, let's give it a try. I wrote a letter, and they invite me for a first meeting. So I went to Amersfoort North, and there was this human resource manager and director himself, the CEO. He was like, I want to know what kind of candidate. And it was as random that he came as first to my appointment. And my heart was bumped because I didn't know. And he looked at me. And then he looked at the HR manager. Who is this guy? Why did we invite him? He's not a senior salesman.
Not qualified.
Not qualified. And I was very young with my tie, sweating a lot. And I was looking I said, oh my God, they made me, I don't know how to react. And this HR man, but he sent a great letter. And he said his experience.
Are they having this conversation in front of you?
Yeah.
You're sitting right
there. Sitting there, but they were looking at me.
Yeah.
And I was sitting as we sit now.
Across the table.
And I was like, what I have to say. But they were a little bit arguing. And he said, get outside. And he was a little bit yelling about him. And then he came and he said, Orhan, this is not the way that we are selecting candidates. So tell me in one sentence, why are you here? And I was, everything goes through my mind. And I said, yeah, I don't know. What was your first time that you want to have a job? How did you start your first job? Give me a chance. Otherwise, I cannot prove. And it looked at me. You're very confident, but he saw something. I just said, I had to give it a try. Otherwise, how can I get some experience when I don't get the chance? How did you start your first job? And he looked at me. And he said, Orhan, okay, sit down. And I was like, oh my God, he's very mad at me. But the eyes were never lying. And he said to the HR manager, who was very confused about, oh my God, I get fired by my CEO. And CEO said, Orhan, we don't give you the senior job. You're not qualified, but we're going to give you a sales trainee project. It was the first time, also for them, to give me being a sales representative and giving the coaching with the courses and everything was paid by Rico Netherlands. And he said, okay, this is a one-time life chance for you, but you have to earn it and don't disappoint me. I'm very mad about this, but also with my colleague, and the colleague was like, HR manager, oh my God, I did something wrong. But what I saw in him and what he said to me, don't disappoint me. Like, he was trusting me. He made something that as a CEO I can do that, but it was like a dream or something, and something came out that I really wanted. And I said, okay, he gives the trust to me. I have to prove this maximum. And I was getting my car a week later or 2 weeks later with a small Peugeot.
Yep.
The French car 106. I remember the smallest car with Rico, with the logo. And I was so glad, Austyn. I was like, the child came into me, and I was at the parking place and I went out and I yelled, I did it. It was so great. It felt so good. Like when I sold my first Kirby machine that time, I was like, I have to prove now. And then starting to call to the clients. I always get my target. I was always doing my best every time, at time to the client, very motivated. And always keeping the sentence of the CEO saying, I'm trusting you, I give you a chance, prove it.
Oh my gosh.
It was very hard, but when somebody looks in your eyes and said, this is what I do for you, he was not amused about the situation. I saw it. And he was also he was like, I like that. That kind of attitude. Really, he said later on, I launched with him, and when I had this promotion from sales rep to a key account manager, and he said to me, Orhan, what you did, because other people say, hey, but this guy has zero experience, architecture on my resume. But he said, I saw something in you, and I saw myself at the other side of the table. And it may be luck, maybe meant to be. But what somebody says to it, you have to get the chance, and then you go 300%. You have to take it and go for it. And that's what made me I was very scared. Oh, maybe I'm going to failure. I go to clients who want to do some business with Orhan Polat, never heard about me. But I say to him, I have a good company. I have the good product. I have the good service. And I try to be do business with me, not business with Rico, but doing business with Orhan. In this time, always, of course, you don't have a great company. What I have, it's you're the most unique selling point. I always say USPs are very good with companies. The most important USP is yourself, communicating, people skill, very important. And that drove me at the time at Rico to become successful.
How did you learn all of this? You clearly have a natural sales gift, but who was your mentor in teaching you this stuff?
Always great teammates, colleagues. They were higher in the sales, and I go with them to joint visit to the clients. And I saw a lot of talking. When you look at two people are talking each other, I see so many signals. Everybody has a point of view. But it's like when two people are playing chess with other people, I see as a third person, hey, but why don't you do that move? And, it's in sales the same. I see so many things, but I try to be like, he's my colleague. And he said, Orhan, you saw what we did. And I saw it, but I was not like picking up the great things, but I was really like to be my natural way to get a conversation. For instance, that a colleague was like getting the folder, the brochure to the client. It was his way. He was also selling, but he was pointing like, we do this, we have this for your company, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, my suitcase was always closed, and I was always talking with each other about. And sometimes I looked at like a picture here in this room, and I said, "Hey, is that your house in French?" Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he talked about his family, about the quality of them, and we have a real conversation. And then, of course, you had to be like very sales, and then you say, okay, we have to close down. You could not talk for hours. But what I always learned, when people has to know you, and they know that you're not only 100% for sales or pitching or like, I was very aware of that. And sometimes my manager says, Orhan, you were 4 hours away. What did you do? And what I say, did you look at the deal? I said, okay. I'm not saying nothing because it's not about that you had 10 meetings at a time. I was more like in the long term, was more like building up a real relationship. And that was my kind. And people say, yeah, you can earn much more money and you have to be like getting 5 meetings. That was like a target. I was very like maybe a little bit stubborn. 5 meetings. I have to go from A to B and get in 1 hour the deal done. When we are rushing up from things, most people don't like that. I cannot work for somebody who said, we have targets. I learned so much, Austyn, but what I saw is when you do on quantity, it was not quality. And I'm looking for my way of selling, but people really want to be real conversation with genuine people. And I try to be like very natural and really think with a win-win situation.
What I see is the common theme of creativity, right? You're observing and you're being creative with how else can we do this.
Yeah.
That's sort of a theme for you.
I think so, yeah.
What was the future of that job? You started as a sales associate, the training level, and then what happened?
I was like 3-4 years. I was an FTE. And then I had this highest level senior salesman. so my first start.
Wait, so you made it from the training level all the way up to senior sales director?
Yes, in 3.5 years.
Oh my gosh. That's a good success story.
Yeah, I know, but
That's
it was
very
a little
inspiring.
bit luck also with Austyn. And, with sales, it's like with football, compare it always with Messi or Ronaldo. When we say, Messi, how do you pass by your opponents? He doesn't do it. He does do it. He does it naturally. And in my sales, sometimes it go like this, but I'm not like, I have to get some 6 yeses and then we have to close. I see a lot of body language and the expression of the faces. And I said to him, can we do some business? And he gave me the hand. It's like feeling comfortable that people say, trust. Everything is based on trust. And if you understand that, you can accomplish a lot of things in life. When you really want to enterprise, you have to cross boundaries. Building up a business is not a steady way or this is the direction. You have to be smart. What can I develop? What I have to learn? What are my qualities? And how can I develop them? And what people can motivate me? That's very important. People around you is mostly important.
It's good business advice. So Xerox came knocking, you said. Headhunter found you. And what happened there?
Then I go to the big employer temps. And it was only by the management teams and all was set up in long-term contract. And it was a great time. Xerox, very disciplined, learned a lot of structure. But I was missing the real sales, new business generating. And that's what I like. I like to develop new chances and new business. And the Xerox was mostly like changing the contract and that time from analog to digital with the multifunctionals. And I was not happy at all. But Xerox is very great, but I missed the challenging. And then there was Kyocera, Japanese also. It's also the printer. And they had only indirect sales, like with dealers. And when I came, they want to introduce their direct sales department. And there, I bring Nikon Europe as Costa Diamonds as new clients. They had Canon, they had Xerox. Xerox was not so pleased. Kyocera was not so well known. And I like that. So customers, they never heard about us. And they choose for me. Why? Because I was selling at my way that I did in Rico, but very high level. So that's what my step from Xerox to Kyocera. And after 1.5 years, I said, okay, the copying machine, I saw it. And then the entertainment branch, also with a headhunter, found me and said, hey, maybe you like to sell DVDs. And at the time was also with VHS, like the recording, the big tapes.
Oh yeah, I remember those days.
You remember that time was there. And it was a new way to get in a new industry. But selling and going with clients, it was all the same. I'm not looking at the product, but I was doing business with people. I love that.
When did you decide to go out on your own, and how did that happen?
That was in 2008. Worst year to start a business. At that time, everybody said, Orhan, you're crazy. You have a great job. But at that time, it felt like I cannot work for somebody. And that's what I thought, okay, where am I good? I started with Orhan Polat project management, but I was looking at when people are hiring me like a freelance for marketing and sales. I did some great projects, but at that time it was like everybody had a sales team, everybody had marketing people. And sometimes it was very difficult to get project in a continuing way, and I was very searching, and I was like, I have to find something new. I had to find something that can be very add value. And I explore, and I saw social media at that time in 2010, 11. It was very, you had LinkedIn, but it was very static. It was very boring. You had Twitter, you had Facebook, also YouTube. Later on came Instagram. But I was like, this is a new medium. How can this work from companies? What are the USPs from all the platforms? And I saw combinations to connect different kind of social media, trying. I sacrificed a lot of weekends. How does it work? What can a salesman do, or somebody from marketing, or somebody from the service department? And nowadays it's called web care. And step by step, I saw something, I said, okay, this can we work. And I tried with some clients, and they say, how do you know this? And how did you find this way, like tips and tricks? And I was like, trying, delete, it worked. And so I started mostly from what are people looking for? They want to sell their product, or they want to be well known as a personal brand. And I asked to people like, okay, why are you on social media? And like, yeah, everybody's on social. Yeah, you're not everybody. Why do you want to be on social media? It's a very common question, but they're like, I don't know. Orhan, help me out. Okay. Be very concentrated about if you want to earn money with your company. Social media is a main part. But you see is that it more become to a part of your core business. Think about what is the purpose of your post. What do you want to reach? How to monitor? What is your story? What is your personality? What are you doing? Are you doing for society, for other people? You can use social media very great for that kind of goals, I think. But you have to always consider, what do I want to reach? And that's what I develop in a 3-way social media step.
Can you give like a brief overview of what each stage is like?
Okay, the first stage is like social media management, and the most important is like it's a session of 3 hours with me, one-on-one, to make your profile trustful. who am I, what do I want to be, and how do I want to get a trustful profile on social media. That's the first start. The second phase is social media marketing. How will I brand myself to the target audience? Where are the target audiences? And what kind of content do I need? With the content calendar, what are your very strategic moments to you're maybe attended on an exhibition or go to an event. You want to get known the right people. I say always, LinkedIn is the B2B platform. You see a face. Is that the decision-making unit, the person who really want to do business with you? So you can be very specific about who do you want to know. And I always say phase 2 is not only the marketing, it's also on the offline, like really meet people. It's always a combine of, okay, this is what I am. I want to go to an event. It's on Facebook events or now it's a new feature on LinkedIn. You can put a LinkedIn event. Very interesting. And then it made that people say, okay, with marketing, this is my purpose. And I help them to make this social media much more as a core business. They see it and they do it by themselves with their laptop. Whoa, did I do this? Yeah. And then at the last part is social media review and preview. And within all the stages of phase 1, phase 2, there's always 1 month between that. And I always give some exercising and keep them motivated. They ask some questions. So people are doing it and learning. And at phase 3 is like, what did you learn in phase 1, phase 2? What is working and what is not working for you? Choose. You don't have to keep up all the balls, Twitter or Facebook or Instagram is not working for your business. Choose, be very selective. And then we try to, what are your questions and what are you going to do for the next 3 months? And what can I send it to my audience? And you have to talk with your customers. That's what we try to learn in the course also. What kind of way that you get this loyalty from your customers is very difficult. It's customers very changing their needs. And you have to be a very strong brand to talk about how to bring your information to the right audience who will buy your product.
If there's an entrepreneur out there who's trying to up their social media game and they don't really know where to start, what would you say is the most important thing for them?
First of all, that they explore social media. Is this the way that I want to brand my product or my expertise, the core business? Think about where are my target audience? Where can I find them? Do I have to choose all the social media channels? Do I use YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter? You have to hold all the balls above. Choose 2 or 3 channels and build it up. Think about it. Monitor. It takes a lot of time. And you have to think about this. What is my purpose? And what do I want to reach with social media? How much time will I spend it? And I always say, start off with 1 or 2 hours. Less is more. Think about how to build up bricks to build up your own house, but you have to start with the fundamentals. That's the most important. The purpose, choose for social media. What is my target? What is my story? The storytelling is your person, your product. You have to always think about what's the use of social media. And when are you looking for social media? If you are looking for new business or new clients, always be creative and then keep it up. Like I say always with social media, people are in the first time, they are very motivated and they want to eager, like sporting. In the first time, they are always going to the gym and you have to persistence. Discipline a little bit, very hard for me also. But be creative and not like a routine. Mm-hmm. I have to do this and that. Routine is killing for your creativity. Mm. Creativity is very important. How can I make it work for me? Put everything that you do on social media, podcast, is like 360 deals within your business. Most important is your purpose, that you can explain to everybody what your purpose is on social media. And every day it's different. Yeah. Changing rapidly, But you have to be I want to do it right, or don't do it. Or choose the right channel. I said.
Social media changes so fast. How do you make sure that you're staying up to speed with everything that's happening?
I get a lot of information from like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I see a lot of trendsetters. I get some information way before, and also from LinkedIn in this way. LinkedIn for me is when I look at the business to business platform, for instance, with LinkedIn events, very interesting that you can put up the right decision maker to your event. And I always look at whole social media and I sit down on a whole weekend, and then 2 hours I will explore the new things. What's new on the laptop or on the mobile, because they are two different platforms. And I say, okay, what kind of new feature is there? And I will always find new things. And I say, hey, this can work. Now, how can I do that advantage to my clients they are doing a training? Is it useful for somebody? And with my current clients or companies who want to do much more than social media, for instance, when there is a client who want to train their account managers, it's mostly like social selling. It's a different way of using social media, generating leads, generating new markets. It's on another high level. But that's one thing that I try to do. What's new for sales? What kind of post, organic or with paid advertising? And I think that's my choice. Paid advertising can work very well, social advertising very well. Much people doing that. And I say, don't spend too much money. Pay me so I can make it more like organic. Organic way, it's not so fast, but what you generate in the long term, you get to build up the right followers, really people who are doing engagement marketing mostly. When you compare it with social advertising, it's a little bit 25% they interested in your product, but the call to action to really buy your product is 0. When you do organic, it goes like very natural. And then you say maybe 100 instead of maybe 10,000 that you had in a social advertising. Oh, you think, I have 10,000 leads. Sorry. Wake up and smell the coffee. When you have 100 in the organic way, I can for sure that 50 to 60% would really do business with you. They really engage with you, and not only for us, thumbs up, like liking. They are doing the comment, or they go then the call to action to really order from the social media platform directly to the product. And that's what the future is going to be.
Organic and slow.
Organic, yeah.
Yeah, people don't like to hear that, but it's good.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. You have to be very patient, and that's sometimes very difficult. And sometimes the people say, Orhan, I want to earn some money, and there are other things, and enterprising is not only with social media. Only social media is one part of your own enterprises. Don't stuck on that social media is like the holy grail, the most important part of your car. When you have this car, social media is maybe the engine, but you need also good tires to be on the road. You have to be comfortable. When you don't have the wheels, you cannot drive. You have a great engine, but So think about, what can I do in my personal, in the offline? Where can I find new networks? It's not only social media. You have to talk with people. You have to go to network meetings. And you have to be like hardworking. Enterprising is not only the nice things that you hear about it and drinking on a network. It's hardworking. It's dedication. It's all in your own hands, mostly. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about this other huge part of your life. It's your hobby, it's your passion.
Yes.
EDM lifestyle. So explain a little bit about that.
EDM lifestyle is always doing with the core business of social media. And social media is also with branding, with artists and DJs. I love the music of electronic dance music. Maybe not everybody knows what EDM stands for. EDM is electric dance music. It's a huge industry. Holland is from the top 10 of the DJ Mag. There are 6 or 7 Dutch people from Chesto, Armin van Buuren, Nico de Miro, Afrojack. This little country has so many things brought up with the first festivals, with the first like ID&T from Sensation to Mysteryland, Dance Valley. And I was always love music. I love about being a DJ with mixing, and still love it. And I love a lot of things, but I was thinking, how can I do a hobby what I really liked to get from social media? Because all the artists need social media. The old-fashioned, like the traditional way, there's a management label. What you see is now an enormous development of social media, and it's like the digital online marketing. The fans are on social media, and they need social media to download the music from the artist, and they want to be very close to the artist. Social media is the best way to get in touch with a DJ. In earlier years, I had sent an email or sent a letter, and the management will say, "Oh, this is not good." Really, look at Martin Garrix. It's the new generation. He does a lot of business from YouTube. His music is not like going from a record label, but a record label is not the most important. It's a part of the vertical. In the earlier days, they were the gatekeeper, and now he gives a lot of music, a preview of his new productions. All the kids do want to, because they want to be the next Martin Garrix. So social media gives me the chance to give my hobby, my passion with EDM lifestyle, to bring my expertise and maybe say, "Hey, Orhan, your music is fine. Maybe you can come to an event, and maybe it's going to happen." But I love that. I don't know what it brings to me, but what I say is I had the chance and I had to make choices. Sometimes something that you did 2 years ago come later on 5 or 6 years, because I see a lot of opportunities. When I have social media, I can help expats, entrepreneurs, Dutch companies, franchise, and also international DJs. They say, "Hey, you understand my music. I see some great social media. Hey, you played before." And then trust is everything depends on human to human. So as we saw each other and met each other on the streets, so many people in a crowd, and I look at you, you look at me, and I said, "Hey, you come from the Expat pair from Beurs van Berlage." When you say that in a movie, people say, "That cannot be real." Life is expecting that you sometimes some signals at the strangest time, at the time that you never expect will happen. Yeah. And then with music, DJs see, "Hey, your social media is interesting. Maybe you can do that." And we do barter deals. Then they say, "Hey, maybe you can make music." And I love that. And then playing for a crowd, I don't know if it will happen, but then that will be my ultimate, the dream will come true. I hope so. But you never know it.
So right now you're planting seeds.
Yeah.
Spreading your roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Final thoughts.
Okay.
If you could go back and give your younger self a piece of advice, what would you say?
I was born in April, 5th of April, like a ram. They're very stubborn people, and be patient and explore and be open to other people. And sometimes it was maybe sales driven. Sometimes I was focused sometimes on myself and the dedication. Take some time for other things. And rushing up with the marriage and but at that time I thought I can handle the whole world, and it felt very hard, but it made me also very much aware of my qualities. So I was very impatient and very stubborn, but I don't know if that's very good thing or not. It made me like who I am now at this moment. So the younger myself, I think, exhausting maybe, I don't know. Oh my God, who's this guy? But people always creating an ambience. At the end, people were always like, you had a pleasant being with you and the conversation. And that's what I see in myself. So changing something when I see my younger self, it's so different. How do you look at yourself?
Gosh, I don't know what I'd say. I would say so many things, but they all have to do with confidence, probably. Believe in yourself, invest in yourself. You can do it.
I know for sure you can.
Yeah, that's what I would say to my younger self. What do you think is in the future for you?
Great question. It's very, I hope to be very healthy and, of course, social media with training. And I don't know if I'm staying in Holland. I think I will not be in Holland now. I think at the sea or something, I don't know, traveling. It's so hard to say, Austyn.
Yeah.
Because
it's a hard question.
Yeah, when you have a family, it's different, I think. But I think it's always you came alone on the world and you go alone away. But I was always like, a destiny is not like a country or to settle something. But you can say many things about Holland's structure and this. But the quality what you have here is very great. I can say that. But when you go, I'm very easy to adapt other countries to be integrated. But I don't know, maybe on a beach with a beach house or something like that. It would be very nice. Great sunset.
With
maybe
some EDM music in the background.
EDM music, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But I've tried to be like healthy and get the most of my life. And time will tell.
Yeah. So if people want to get in touch with you, Orhan, how can they do that?
Of course, from social media is Project management. You can always find me at Orhan Polat. Send me a direct message from Instagram or a personal message from LinkedIn, from Facebook, also from YouTube. I'm very easy to get in touch. So.
And you're also at Hello Expat.
Yeah, Hello Expat.
Okay, I'll make sure and link up to all that stuff.
I would appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on. It's so fun to talk to you.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thanks for listening to today's show. If you enjoyed Expat Hour, please leave a review on iTunes and share this with your friends. You can find the show notes and more info about today's episode at expathour.com. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or have any questions, please reach out to me via the website or on all social media platforms at Expat Hour. Remember, the antidote to prejudice is listening to someone's story. Until next time, Dewey!